The new HTC One M8 has taken what made the original M7 one of my favorite smartphones of 2013 and improved upon it. It's got a bigger display, it's faster, and has some new features, so go ahead and kick back, relax, and find out what stood out to me. Today's video is powered by Dollar Shave Club. Hey guys, Jonathan Morrison here, and yep, that is just like Jim. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, evening, or whenever you may be watching this. I am back with some coverage on the brand new HTC One, otherwise known as the HTC One M8. So I'm currently in the preparation stage of my review, testing it out, using it as my daily driver, and pretty much just getting a feel for the phone, but I have used it for a couple days now, so I wanted to share with you my first impressions and also what stood out to me, and I'm going to do that by breaking it down into my top 5 features. Now, if you're brand new to the channel, definitely feel free to subscribe. That way you'll be notified once I do upload the full review, and you can do that by either clicking the YouTube button right here, or I'll have it linked down below. Aside from that, let's go ahead and jump right into it and kick it off with feature number 5, and that is motion launch. Now, briefly touching upon impressions, I am not a huge fan of the sleep wake button placement on the new M8. For me, by instinct, I keep wanting to reach for what actually is the microSD card slot up there on the top right-hand side. And actually on Twitter, myself, Detroit Borg, and Danny Winget, who both, by the way, make killer tech videos, all seem to agree that the sleep wake button placement is a little bit cumbersome, and for us, the ideal placement would actually be where the volume down button is located. Now, if you happen to have picked up one of the new HTC One M8s, I would love to hear your opinion on whether you agree or disagree with us. Now, getting back to motion launch, there was some reasoning behind that little ramble, and because I do find the sleep wake button cumbersome, that makes me appreciate and find motion launch that much more useful. Now, quick disclaimer, this may seem very similar to some of LG's features, so I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that HTC invented the wheel, but regardless, these are useful. So for starters, when the phone is asleep and in portrait orientation, you can actually double tap the phone and that will wake it up. Taking that one step further, you can swipe left and that will take you to your widget panel, which essentially is your home screen. Swiping right will take you directly into Blink Feed, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's there, and if you want to access that quickly, that's how you do it. Now, swiping up will unlock the phone completely, and if you're curious what the difference is between up and left, because they seem very similar, if you swipe up, that will actually take you to your last open application as opposed to the home widget panel. Now, conversely, swiping down will actually activate voice calling, so if you want to quickly make a phone call when your phone's asleep, just swipe down, and then from there, it'll prompt you to say call and then the name of the person you want to dial. And then lastly, if you do want to quickly access the camera on the M8 from sleep, all you got to do is turn it landscape, so sideways, and then press either of the volume buttons and voila. So you can see they're not revolutionary by any means, but definitely useful. And that brings us to feature number 4, and that is microSD card expandability. So jumping back to last year's HTC One, the M7, one of the biggest complaints and drawbacks was a lack of storage expansion. That was something the Galaxy S4 offered, and for a lot of people, that was a make or break feature in terms of actually buying a phone. But this year, that completely changes. And what makes it more impressive is that HTC has proven that you don't have to sacrifice build quality in order to get expandability. Now, upon first glance, you might not even realize there is a microSD card slot on the M8 because it kind of just looks like a SIM card slot right there on the top right-hand side. But the SIM card slot is actually on the left side. Now, because it is a unibody design, the bad news is you do need a tool to access that slot. The good news is, though, it's just a SIM card ejection tool, so you're not going to have a separate special adapter or tool or anything like that. It's the same one you'd use for your SIM card. Now, you can expand up to an additional 128 gigabytes via microSD. On top of that, if you don't need that much storage, you can actually pick up a 64 gigabyte card for less than $1 per gigabyte. Right now, they're floating around $40 to $45. And I'll have current pricing and various models and sizes linked down below just in case you are interested in picking one up. So moving on to feature number 3, and that is the Duo camera. Now in the back of the M8, you might be wondering why are there 2 cameras? And those are actually 2 separate 4 ultra pixel cameras that take 2 separate pictures simultaneously and then give you access to the various depth of field information that you can then tweak afterwards. Now, there has been some controversy on whether this is useful or if it's gimmicky, but for me, more than anything, it's a step into the future, into the right direction, and it's actually nice to see HTC taking a chance and trying to be innovative as opposed to just keeping it the same or boring. Now, from my initial testing, it's not perfect in every situation, but if you kind of know when and how to use it, it can actually be pretty cool. So here you can see my lovely dog, Miss Melody, posing for the YouTube camera. And this is with no effect turned on. And you can see if we focus on her, we can actually create that blurred background effect. So in this case, it actually looks really nice. This is Big Mac in a similar scenario. And again, it looks pretty good here. And this is based off what they call U-Focus. So you can change either the foreground or background focus. They also have Foregrounder, which gives you 4 options: sketch, zoom blur, cartoon, and colorize. This shot of Big Mac right here was created using the foregrounder sketch effect, and in this case, I think it works really well. There's also seasons, which will give your photo almost a video-like effect with various elements. There's Sakura, Dandelion, Maple Leaf, and Snow. Now, Dimension Plus is pretty trippy because there are 2 focal points with the 2 cameras. If you actually tilt the phone, it will give you a pretty tripped out 3D effect, which I don't know how useful it is, but it's kind of cool. And lastly, Sticker doesn't really have anything to do with the duo camera per se, but I thought, why wouldn't you want to see a picture of Big Mac in a hat? So again, it's not perfect in every situation, but I think a lot of consumers who just want to have fun with their camera and aren't really trying to be a pro photographer are going to find some use out of this. And again, even though it can be conceived as gimmicky, I think it's a step in the right direction and also something we'll see on future smartphones to come. And following up the duo camera at number 2 is build quality and the display. And I'm kind of just sandwiching these together because they are both awesome and kind of both go hand in hand. Now, the original HTC One M7 by all means was a beautifully crafted, beautifully designed, extremely premium feeling smartphone, but HTC has found a way to even improve upon that. So the M7 consisted of about 70% aluminum in terms of build material, whereas the M8 bumps that up to about 90%. So with that, it does make it heavier, but it feels extremely solid and there's very little plastic. And just like the M7, something I really like about the M8 is when you pick it up in the morning, because it is aluminum, it gives you that cold metal feeling, which is something I just personally enjoy. Now, alongside the build quality, the display on the M8 is also just as awesome. So it is still 1080p just like on the M7, but it's slightly larger now, coming in at 5 inches, which for me is just about the sweet spot in terms of a smartphone screen display size. And on top of that, just overall image quality, brightness, and color accuracy is outstanding. So whether you're watching YouTube, Netflix, playing a game, or even just reading, for me, having a large, sharp display is something that I really enjoy. Now, as awesome as the display is for consuming media, this takes me to my number 1 feature, which is Boomsound, which takes consuming media to that next level. So again, jumping back to the original HTC One, the M7, Boomsound was one of the features that kept me using it as my daily driver for as long as it did. It is honestly loud enough and sounds good enough to where if you didn't want to use a Bluetooth speaker in certain applications, you'll actually enjoy listening to music off of it. Now, HTC is claiming that the new M8 is 20% louder compared to the M7. And I'll actually go all out and test that out with a decibel reader for my full review, but in the meantime, for reference, here is what the iPhone 5S sounds like. And here is that same track at the same volume level on the HTC One M8. So you can see there is an absolute huge difference between the two, and it is beyond me why this is not a feature on every single smartphone or tablet, because it completely enhances your experience. And not only does that apply to YouTube or Netflix, but if you're actually playing a game, you get more immersed into the content because it sounds that much better. And for me, I watch a ton of NBA League Pass on my phone, so the bigger display combined with Boomsound makes my geek/sports heart very happy, and thank goodness the Bulls turned it around this year. They're making me proud, but they did have me a little bit worried when Rose went down again.
The MRI confirms it. A torn meniscus in the right knee of Chicago Bulls point guard Derrick Rose, which will sideline him for the remainder of the season yet again. The Bulls' struggles continue since losing Rose for the season, dropping 11 out of their last 14 games.
What the hell, man? I've been texting you all day. Man, quit being a bitch.
What the? Feel better already. Thanks, man. You're welcome. Wait, that's your razor?
Yeah.
But you have a beard.
Yeah. Never been smoother.
So I think we can agree buying razors sucks. You gotta go to the store, you gotta talk to people, and then you dish out way too much money for shave tech you don't even need. Fortunately, Dollar Shave Club is doing away with that craziness and they make it stupid simple. For a few bucks a month, Dollar Shave Club ships killer razors and other bathroom goodness to your door. One Wipe Charlie's anybody? They tingle, in a good way. They also have Dr. Carver's Easy Shave Butter, which I really enjoyed. I have sensitive skin, but they use badass soothing ingredients to make your shave buttery smooth. So shave time, shave money. Join now at dollarshaveclub.com/TLD. Make sure to use that link so they know we sent you. You guys can jump on a fantastic deal that I have no problem recommending, and you guys can help support the channel at the same time. So thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, or you're just feeling like being awesome, make sure to hit that like button. It is much appreciated and it does help the channel out. If you guys have any questions on the new M8 or tech in general, definitely drop me a line down below. I do try to reply to as many YouTube comments as possible, but it does get a little crazy. So the absolute best way to get a hold of me is on Twitter at TLD Today. I am pretty much on there all the time, so you'll more than likely get a reply. By the way, huge thank you to Mr. Mike Panetta, aka MTP Flyers of Tech Examined. I will have him linked down below. Again, also, if you are not subscribed, definitely feel free to do that. That way you're notified once I do upload the full review. If you guys missed anything, it will all be recapped down below along with the gear and my setup that I use to create these videos. This is Jonathan with TLD, and I will see you guys later.